So incredible times. I wanted to ask you, first about what's going on in news, and you have this remit now of this a number of local systems, news channels. What's been going on through the pandemic and consumption of news, and the need for the community, and then the opportunity that's developed for advertisers?
So I lead up now at Altice all of our news, which is News 12, our hyperlocal news stations, Cheddar, which is our business news network, and then I-24, which is our international news network. And yes, we saw explosive growth in viewership of news during COVID, really probably peaking in March and April. We've sustained some of that spike, but not near those levels when people were literally obsessed every minute with COVID. We reported out our second quarter earnings. Our advertising across the whole entire Altice USA was down 15.6% in Q2. And I think that was relatively, a victory when you look at a lot of our peers that they were down 30, 40% and the like. But advertising, just because we had spikes in viewership doesn't necessarily mean that we had spikes in advertising. In fact, it was quite the opposite, with many brands pausing campaigns or not sure what they want to do, and the like. So it was a challenging time. We're certainly seeing, improvement now. But no doubt Q2 was tough.
So, John, tell us about strategies, across the networks, and how you guys are sort of dealing with advertising in terms of, both the sort of New York Interconnect
Yeah.
DMA scenario versus, local vendors, local merchants. What's the mix? What's the strategy?
So we really have two ad products. The ad products are standard commercial inventory, 30 and 15-second spots, which we run across all of our networks. And the New York Interconnect is vital and integral in selling the New York DMA. And News 12 is one of the best performing networks, in the New York DMA. So that's a powerful place for people to do local advertising. We also have a local sales force, which goes out and sells for people who want to buy just a particular zone and don't want to buy the whole New York DMA. That's our local sales force. And then the other ad product we have is the one which is unique to Cheddar, really, which is the branded integrations of sponsorships that we do with Dunkin' Donuts and Chase and Ally Bank, that are large integrated branded content type deals, very similar to the type of stuff I did in my background at BuzzFeed. And so that's really the split of the product: standard ad inventory and then high touch integrated sponsorships and custom content.
Which brings me to a question about sort of the mix of news versus hard news, breaking news, lighter fare in your programming, and how do you kind of balance the need for information and the need from relief, and how does that sort of mix create
Yeah.
an
So,
opportunity for advertisers?
COVID, well, first of all, COVID fatigue is a real thing. So we definitely saw a fall off in the amount of COVID coverage people wanted. They were just exhausted by it, emotionally exhausted by it, I assume. And so we've now kind of dialed back the volume of COVID coverage, making sure that we still are presenting the integral, vital information the public needs to know across our news networks. And it's still a huge part of the daily coverage, but it's not the totality of it. And advertisers, by and large, are comfortable with it. At the beginning of COVID, there was, some trepidation around, what it meant for their businesses, and some pauses around advertising that I mentioned. But right now, we see a lot of advertisers, a lot of national advertisers coming back into the market, and they're not concerned with running adjacent to COVID-related news. They know that that's the news and that's what the public wants, and an informed public is what we're all striving for.
John, getting back to Cheddar for a minute, you guys have an incredible hyper syndication platform, whatever we want to call it, where it's way beyond the New York DMA on
Yeah.
so many outlets and devices. I wanted to ask you about reaching millennials, your syndication approach, and how things have been going through the pandemic. I don't know if you're in the New York Stock Exchange. You're not there today, but
No, we're back. We're back. Kristen Scholler, our anchor, is in the gallery. The stock exchange has opened the gallery back to us. We're not on the floor anymore. To answer your distribution question, yeah, over the journey of Cheddar, which is 4.5 years, distribution and OTT have grown massively, and we have put ourselves everywhere where people want to watch live streaming content, whether that's Pluto, Roku channel, Sling, Hulu, YouTube TV, the like. We launched on Tubi, which is a huge free movie platform, which added news recently as well too. And so the idea behind Cheddar is millennials are not going to get a standard cable TV package. They're going to get broadband, and then they're going to go use a plethora of pay TV services and free TV services. And Cheddar is a news source that's available on basically every free TV platform that you can stream from. And so that has been a strategy to capture the next generation of video viewers.
So how do you characterize the editorial DNA of Cheddar, and if there is one, and what is its appeal? And we of course could go into the whole fake news and
Yeah.
news that has a perspective. What's this sort of the DNA of Cheddar?
The DNA of Cheddar is a business network focused on technology, media, innovation, and entrepreneurship. It is most certainly nonpartisan. I mean, the only kind of leaning you could say is that it's probably pro-capitalism, because we root for the entrepreneur, we root for the startup. We cover them when they do bad things, but we certainly believe by and large business is a huge driver of innovation in the world, especially technology business. So that's more or less how I would characterize the network.
Cool. And John, being involved with both, this digital network and these linear channels, what's your view of sort of a holistic approach to advertising planning? Or is there a holistic approach, and how does that work?
You can do it. Now, whether the agencies are set up to do it and they want to do it is another thing, but the clients definitely want it. The clients want a package that includes branded content, content creation, sponsorship integration. They want standard 15 and 30-second ads running on traditional linear television, and they want OTT. And they want that all in a bundle and a package, and they want it from a great provider. And if they can run that against content that is thematically what they're interested in and an audience that they're interested in, it's all the more exciting. Unfortunately, the agencies are not set up to do that, right? In a lot of cases, they want you to talk to the TV department. They're researching OTT, and there's a digital department. So Andy, I think that's a mega trend. I think that I think the clients want fewer larger partners. Call that a publisher or a TV network or a digital outlet or an outlet or whatever you want to call it. And they want to buy that in all of the modern ways that brand can provide inventory.
And John, finally, we've spoken for many years together on various topics, going back to BuzzFeed days. I wanted to ask your perspective on the mix of content, advertising, sponsorships, and in a sense, the viable business model around digital media, digital news, what you've seen from Altice, what you've seen from, launching Cheddar,
Yes.
some learnings you have and things you might want to share with your colleagues.
Yeah, look, I think independent media companies are best small, and when they reach a certain size, they link up with a larger parent. I think that's essential to be able to offer the mix of products that you and I just discussed in the last question. I think that there's a lot of reinventing of the wheel that goes on when a digital media company starts to create all of the things that an incumbent company like an NBC Universal or an AT&T or what have you has. So my answer is that the entrepreneur in the media space should build something of scale that does something unique in terms of content and advertising or potentially subscription products, and then ultimately needs to link up with a larger partner, a larger parent, to really take it to the next level. I think you've seen that with Business Insider, for example, which has, I think, gone on to be more successful under Axel Springer. But if you try to do everything on your own, you try to reinvent the wheel for every single piece of your business, it leads to an operating cost structure, which is just not sustainable for a startup, I think.
Great, John. Well, congratulations on all your success and your leadership in our industry. And it's always great to speak with you.
It's always great to speak with you too. I love Beat TV. So it's great to be here, and I hope you're well.